Massage therapist or masseuse. Have you ever had a session turn SUAL with a client? How did it go down? Not my story but a co-worker's. He was giving a massage to a client and things were getting flirty. She was an attractive woman and he pushed it. Well, I guess he sucked at reading clues because she was married and was being friendly. She filed a complaint on him and he ended up losing his license. My wife was in fact sexually assaulted by a male masseuse. I don't know if he misread hints as you said of your friend, but this guy tried to escalate by shoving his fingers inside of her. He's now registered, so this a dumb effing PRN propagated fantasy. My mom and dad ran their own massage therapy business. My mom always said if a guy started giving any kind of signals that she would just start asking him about his mother. She said it never failed her. Boy, is she gonna be surprised one day when some guy with an Oedipus complex shows up for a massage. My mother, well, you look a lot like her. Oh, I have a story as a client. I used to live in a great city located in Southern California. Across the street where I lived was a massage parlor and out of an old historic home. I used to frequent as much as I could afford and things were great. Or so I thought. I had never been to a masseuse before then and thought big tubs, showers, and champagne was normal since it was the only point of reference I had. After each session I had, the ladies frequently asked me if I needed anything else or wanted to extend. Being very budget conscious, I'd say no thank you. It was great though. I'd get dressed and go home. On my last occasion though, things just felt off. She had me flip from my stomach and massaged my quads and let her fingers drift a little and would ask me if I wanted anything more. I'd sheepishly reply no. This is great. Thank you. As we finished she asked me one more time if I'd like anything else, but I declined. A few weeks later I'm walking home from work and the police are all over my street. As many of you have already guessed, they were busting the place for being a known brothel. I tiptoed back home and waited for them to come to my house and bust me, but thankfully that never happened. Meanwhile, all of your neighbors saw you frequent the joint and have labeled you the town perv. Oh my god, this explains so much. YTF is everyone's mom a massage therapist? Most therapists don't massage 40 hours a week. Most therapists work non-traditional hours. Combine the two and you have an excellent profession for women who need to provide childcare. Plus the schooling it takes often is offered on nights and weekends and can be completed way shorter than a 2 or 4 year degree. My mom is a massage therapist. She has worked at several chiropractic offices. Oftentimes, if you're good enough and trustworthy enough, the chiropractors will give you the keys so you can see clients on the weekends. I once had to take an Uber to her work when she was scheduled to massage this one guy. He was married and new to the US. He had been sending messages to my mom, which made her question his intent, but chalked it up to him not speaking a lot of English. I get a call from her telling me to Uber to her place of work as soon as possible. Apparently the guy had sent a message with this code phrase that in the massage world means things are going to become SUAL. So I'm the first to arrive. My mom gets there and tries to downplay the situation to make herself feel better by saying things like, well, maybe he just didn't know what that meant. I could be drawing a conclusion that isn't true. He has a wife after all. Man comes in with candy and flowers. He sees me sitting in the chair really confused, hands them to my mom. She massages him. He pays her, gives me a sideways glance, and leaves. Son joins mother to give stress relieving massage to foreign guy MP4. This is the best one. My mom was a massage therapist for a few years. Never shared if when she had issues like that. But there was one couple who would come in for separate sessions about every 2-3 weeks. Apparently one day, the wife jokes that the massages are better than my mom, since they are all on good terms, jokes with the husband about it the next time he's in. He pulls his head out of the pillow long enough to say, "Don't make me choose. I can't choose." He was saying he couldn't choose between with his wife vs a massage from my mom. I was totally expecting this to take a turn somewhere and I'm glad it didn't. Former esthetician here, not a masseuse, but I performed waxing on all parts of the body, so I certainly have a story or two. So, there's the Brazilian wax, which is everything gone from your downstairs, front and back. Salons have a male version they cheekily like to call manzillions. I've had a number of these, and without fail, when it comes time to take the towel away and start there's at least a semi-chub going on. I'd explain that this happens with everyone, as peepees aren't very self-aware. They just know they're out. There's a lady, and they're just happy to be there. I'd then place my first strip of wax, let it set, then re-ipe, and it would be like letting the air out of a balloon. Strangely, I never got any phone numbers. Oh, and to do your butthole you have to be on all fours. Big missed opportunity to call it a Brazilian. I had a client start flirting with me while on my table. I reminded her that the session is purely medical and I'd like to keep the conversation about her and what she's dealing with. She stroked my leg once in a SUAL manner and I threatened to end the session there if she tried something like that again. After that, the rest of her session was smooth. I take stuff like that pretty seriously. I'm not setting our profession back 30 years because some people think someone touching them means anything SUAL. This was after a few years of no SUAL anything with anyone, but regardless, I'm not throwing away years of hard work and risking a lawsuit over someone feeling frisky. A guy I know ended up dating his chiropractor. There was mild flirting for a few sessions, and then she messaged him to say that he would need to switch to getting treated by a different chiro at the practice. He was pretty disappointed until she hinted, because we aren't allowed to date our clients. Few weeks later, so, babe, Dr. Steven doesn't do that in a quad massage that you used to do. Was that? Yup, toad cineprobes. 10/10 would injure back again. My stepdad is a professional massage therapist. Asking him for stuff like that is answered with a no, and continuing means you're no longer a client. Stepdad, how? In 15 years, I've had 4 guys try to turn the session SUAL. Grosses me out. I make sure to give their name and phone number to all of my therapist friends as a heads up, because if they tried with me, they're gonna try another therapist until they get lucky. Friend, thanks for the heads up. Immediately books appointment with the dude. My mom's a masseuse and she says there are a lot of instances where clients try to make things SUAL but she never reciprocate, but it can get pretty nasty. One time she told me that a dude asked her to massage down there and she refused, so he grabbed her boob and just kept his hand there for a while, and my mom didn't know what to do, so she just kept doing her job. There are also instances of people calling to make appointments and ending the call with do you guys suck it, because I guess they think they are being subtle. Other than that, there's a lot of unnecessarily SUAL moaning, but my mom just thinks that's funny. Edit. Okay to everyone saying that they've moaned during a massage. I'm not talking about regular moaning. There's a level of that in most of my mom's clients and it's not a big deal, it happens. My mom's immune to it by now. What I'm talking about is a couple of times people moan so loud that the entire store hears, and sometimes they'll get an erection. Happens more often than you'd think, TBH. And say something that's the equivalent of, are you going to do anything about this? And when my mom is nah, they tip her terribly. Everyone who gets a massage and moans, you guys are fine. Most of my mom's co-workers see it as a compliment to their skills. A dude asked her to massage down there and she refused, so he grabbed her boob. SUAL assault. That's when his A needs to be kicked out and banned from the establishment. I'm a physiotherapist, but I have extensive training in deep tissue massage and dry needling. Pretty much every time I treat my girlfriend it ends with S. Probably the closest thing to her answer you're gonna get. You're probably not gonna hear any stories about people with licenses doing anything SUAL with someone, as if it ever got out they would immediately lose their billing number. But I will say I've worked in a gym before where the RMT was sleeping with a few of his patients in and outside of the gym. What is dry needling? I think it's when a guy with a really thin PP tries to have S with a woman but she isn't turned on at all. One of my friend's exes was a massage therapist. She said she constantly had people asking for hand jobs or to wear a low-cut shirt and such. Don't actual places for that exist in every major city? Why bother someone who could lose their job over it? Chances of them calling the cops is low. Going to a known rub and tug could be a great chance to get arrested for prostitution and in trouble with the wife. 8. So I used to work at this massage in Florida. It wasn't anything fancy but it did the job. And we had a couple regulars that would come in maybe once a week. So this one regular that always asked for me came in one day and we started the usual small talk while I was prepping my things. and he says that he just recently got out of a really bad marriage. Our massage place isn't one that does happy endings, but I've given a hand job to a client before, so this guy isn't bad looking. Maybe 7/10. Good job. Nice car. He always tips nice. So towards the end of the massage he asks if he could get extra. I was confused at first and said, "You can always get a shampoo or go in our massage chair for extra." He said, "No, I mean, can you do something extra?" At this point I know what he meant and I smirked. So he flipped over to lay on his back and face me, and I went to whisper in his ear, "Epstein didn't kill himself. Goddamn Loch Ness monster." I have different side of story. I was about 15 years old when that happened and it still gives me creeps. After a car accident I was assigned a massage therapist to massage my shoulder, since it was injured. Nothing else. Just my hand and shoulder. So I come to this session and I see this really young guy waiting for me. I asked him, "Can I keep my clothes?" and he said that I should be in my underwear. Already felt weird, but whatever, I carried on. So I lay on the table and he massages me, when suddenly he starts massaging my back, then lower back. I already felt super uncomfortable at this point, and then he pulls a bit of my underwear, and think of fact that his hands were really oily, he slipped his hands right in between my Oh my god. It was almost the end of the session and it did not last long, but I was so shocked that I freezed. I dressed up and I went to the reception to cancel any sessions with him. I did not report the accident. All the receptionist said, "What went wrong?" "The old ladies love this guy. You will make one happy by giving your space." Edit. "Thank you for all the support." Yes, I did not report it, nor I told anyone. I kept on lying to my parents that I am still going there. It took me around 2 hours to even go to the reception and say that I will not continue. Also, this happened years ago in small city of one of the European countries. Nobody would have believed me anyway. They would have said no bruises, no blood. The kid is imagining everything. She just wants to ruin a life of young massage therapist. I am not sure, but can suspect that he did this for other of his clients, since the receptionist also mentioned that he is not popular among young people. Old ladies love accidents. My sister wife had a male client who after the session decided to jerk off when she left him to allow him to get dressed. She saw he had jerked off all her massage table and had gone through a lot of tissues trying to clean it up. So the salon issued a warning on his account to remove all tissues and towels from the room once the massage is done. My wife said it was the funniest thing when he came in again. After the massage she calls the front desk and 2 girls come in and take everything out of the room. He got dressed really fast and left in shame and never came back. My massage therapist told me of a time a very hot woman was in for the first time. He told her to undress to her comfort level and left for her to do so. Usually at this point you then lay down under the sheet, but he entered a few minutes later to find her sitting naked in a chair asking what she should do next. He gives more detailed instructions now. Yup, happened to a coworker, but it was an older man. She opened the door and said F no and slammed it shut. She then opened the door slightly and made sure he understood to lie down on the table under the blanket. I had a very sweet female client face up and was massaging through her neck and occipital muscles the base of her skull when she leaned her face over and kind of pressed her cheek into my forearm inside and nuzzled against me. She's just someone who totally zones out during massage, so while it wasn't overtly SUAL, it certainly was an unusually intimate gesture. She snapped out of it, and when I adjusted myself away from her cheek, a sap without being jarring, and blushed with immediate embarrassment. Other than that, I have a few clients, male and female, who make oddly SUAL noises but no other obvious signs of arousal. With some of them I'm prepared for the worst when I ask them to turn over onto their backs. I think some of them may be getting more out of the treatment than I intend. But nothing untoward has happened, although we have had some people email and phone us to ask us if we do that kind of thing. If I wanted to jerk people off for money I could do that without going through 3 years of school and paying annual professional dues. My spouse, who is also a therapist, had a teenage male client of hers reach his hand out to touch her thigh while she was standing next to the table, and she politely and firmly shut him down. That's about as bad as it's gotten so far. First paragraph sounds like something from an anime.